We'd like to thank our patrons Jay Hanna, Jim Collison, Wanda Lewis, Ian Schneider, Lori Schwartz, Amy Schindler, Christine Gerber, and Jody Lavallo. Please go to northomahahistory.com/podcast and become a patron for as little as $1 a month. Simply click on the Patreon button and we'll give you a free copy of the historical fiction thriller Murder on Saddle Creek Road by Adam Fletcher Sassy.
Welcome to the North Omaha History Podcast with noted author and historian Adam Fletcher Sassy. Each week, Adam takes you on a guided tour through Omaha's dynamic past.
Imagine a smooth, easy drive on a Saturday afternoon in the fall, all of it weaving along 19 miles of the city's waterfront. There are long, calm curves and tall, stately oaks lining the boulevard with walkers and bikes moving along a nice sidewalk that goes the entire distance. At evening, you turn to go home. Your way is lit by warm street lamps along with the glow of fireflies. So, Adam, what happened to North Omaha's River Drive?
Well, Steve, let's go all the way back to 1889. That was the year that the city of Omaha hired a urban designer. His name was Horace Cleveland. And they hired him to kind of design the city's parks. You know, Omaha had a poor reputation with its parks and really only had one park for a dozen years, 2 dozen years when it was started. But all the way into 1880s, there weren't a lot more. You know, we had Hanscom Park, we had Miller Park. They were all beginning to emerge. But nothing tied them together, and nothing really gave the urban dweller a sense of the calm relaxation that cities like New York and Kansas City and Minneapolis, St. Paul, they were all beginning to develop these park systems that they had. So the city of Omaha hires Cleveland, and he comes in and says, hey, we need to put a bunch of winding, beautiful boulevards to connect all these parks together and really give people a sense of going somewhere and feeling calm as they're moving along, especially with the new technology of automobiles that were coming around at that point. So they put in all these different boulevards around the neighborhood, and we're going to cover those in another podcast. But for now, we know that they were nice, wide boulevards. Picture this tiny little wagons and cars that people were trotting along in. And it wasn't enough. They wanted more. So they began, once they put in this boulevard system, there were some other plans that started getting thrown around. World War I happens, and the city decided that it needed a monument. It needed an opportunity to say to the rest of the city and the rest of the state and the rest of the Midwest, hey, how can we really shine, you know, and what makes Omaha special? So they laid out some goals. They said, let's take advantage of this unsurpassed beauty that's along our river. Let's create an improvement that will make Omaha world famous. Let's build a war memorial for World War I that shows off the best that Omaha can be. And let's make an asset of what would otherwise be wasted land. Also, let's really commemorate the city's history of having men serve in these wars. And they proposed a grand and royal-looking river drive. The river drive was first formally laid out in 1918, and in 1919 it was proposed to City Council. It was going to start way south in Bellevue by the Fontenelle Forest, which was established at that point and really beginning to take off. People were loving it. And Omaha felt connected to Bellevue at this point. So the River Drive came north. It went along Riverview Park, which eventually became Henry Dorley. It went by the Mount Vernon Gardens. It went all along the river to downtown Omaha there in South Omaha. And here's the part that's radical to my mind. It went along the river in North Omaha, starting at about Dodge Street. And it cut all the way north to Carter Lake and that Iowa section. It went along the river right there, and then it went due north and went along the east side of Carter Lake and then along the north side of Carter Lake. It then shot northwards, went up the cliffs, and followed along Florence Boulevard until right around where we know the OPPD plant is right now, and then went northward between Hummel Park and Dodge Park, almost all the way to the Washington County line at Ponca Road, near Ponca Road. So this drive was exquisite. It was going to have very nice granite curves along the entire thing, put in some concrete monuments along it, have very tall monuments to the war effort and all the different branches of service. It was going to, downtown, it was really going to have this look of opening up the river view, where, to remember, Jobbers Canyon blocked off the river view for most people. And there wasn't really a look for developing along the river in 1919 before this plan. Then the rest of it, as it went through North Omaha, would connect North Omaha, tie it really nicely all the way back down into the city, especially along Carter Lake, which was the city's playground at this point. So when they laid out this drive with all this exquisiteness, part of the plan was, hey, how can we have a space where people can walk right to the river? How can we have a space where people can walk along the river and enjoy the entire stroll? How can we have a space where people can drive their new fancy cars along the river? The whole idea was to embrace the river as being a naturally wonderful kind of space that can be shared by all Omahans, regardless of their money amounts. So they lay out this plan, and they put in these kind of preliminary roads throughout the entire pathway. One of the preliminary roads went, and when I say right along the river, I'm talking about 10 feet from the river's edge. But one of them went right next to the Florence Drive, which eventually became J.J. Pershing Drive, right near the Florence Waterworks in North Omaha. And it went right down by the river. Another part of it went right along what we know today as being the Carter Lake Drive on the north end of Carter Lake. Carter Lake Drive was originally part of this river drive. Another section was downtown that never actually got built. And so, it was kind of interesting that they began to put all of this down and really lay out this pathway. A large section then was installed north of what we know to be the Mormon Bridge today, and that section went all along and was actually named River Drive when it was put in. Now, those were test sections originally, and they didn't end up formally dedicating River Drive. Instead, it was a kind of an informal drive for a very long time. However, they named the part north of Mormon Drive River Drive eventually, and then the section between Mormon Drive, I meant Mormon Bridge. Between Mormon Bridge southward, all the way down to what we know as Abbott Drive today, it became known as the J.J. Pershing Drive. And I have an article on NorthOmahaHistory.com all about J.J. Pershing Drive. So you had all these different areas that were getting tied together, but the city didn't complete the plan, Steve. They left Willow Springs Distillery in South Omaha. They left the park intact, the Riverview Park. And when it eventually became the zoo, they left downtown untouched by any boulevard. There was never a boulevard that went downtown. It just didn't happen that went through downtown and connected North and South Omaha. And the opportunity to really make River Drive a spectacular, long, beautiful drive just never came together. Instead, what we had were bits and pieces that were installed here and there. Now, a cool fact is that today people can go to the Riverfront Trail that was put in over the last decade along the Missouri River and follow a lot of that original plan for the River Drive, especially North River Drive. And it's a pretty cool experience because you get the sense that, hey, at one point this could have been a beautiful thing. And unfortunately, Omaha just didn't make it happen. And that's the story of the North River Drive in North Omaha.
Thanks for listening to the North Omaha History Podcast with noted author and historian Adam Fletcher Sassy. Join us next week as Adam takes you on another guided tour through Omaha's dynamic past.